So if you're just joining us on this broadcast, this is what has actually happened since this morning. And the latest development is that the Pakistani President Arif Alvi, on the advice of the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, has announced that he has dissolved the National Assembly. With this, Pakistani Prime Minister has also called for early snap elections. The country's Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry has said that the elections will happen in the next 90 days. As we speak, Imran Khan is said to be writing a letter for the formation of an interim government or a caretaker government to take over the duties of the government till the elections are held and a new government is formed with a complete mandate. But as things stand, the political chaos, if anything, has worsened after that controversial decision by the Deputy Speaker on the floor of the House in the National Assembly. The logic that was used to trash the vote of no confidence motion that was brought against the Imran Khan government was that this was inspired by a conspiracy by a foreign power, and therefore the very session that had been convened for the vote of no confidence was unconstitutional. And as soon as the Deputy Speaker, of course, made this announcement on the floor of the House, the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan went on national television. He lauded the decision by the Deputy Speaker in the National Assembly, and he said that he has now advised the Pakistani President Arif Alvi to dissolve the National Assembly and call for snap elections, which is precisely what the President has done. Snap elections will take place, most likely in the next 90 days, according to Fawad Chaudhry. But a lot of questions still hang in the balance. The decision that was taken by the Deputy Speaker, the man that you're looking at on your screen, is this even constitutional? The legality of this decision to rubbish the vote of no confidence that was brought against the government, and to say that this is because the government is so claiming it, was inspired by a foreign conspiracy to topple the Imran Khan government. Therefore, the vote of confidence simply has no constitutional validity. Will this reasoning, can it be questioned? What will the Supreme Court in Pakistan do? Will it entertain the opposition members and then provide them with some rope that they can then play with? Or will the opposition parties now hit the streets and try create more trouble for the Pakistani establishment? That of course are questions that still hang in the balance. The snap elections will take place in the next 90 days. Will the opposition play ball? Will they boycott the elections? Will they fight the elections? There needs to be more clarity on this. At this point of time, the opposition protested both inside the assembly and also outside of the assembly, but it seems to be devising a strategy as to how to move forward with respect to what has happened. Quite clearly, a dramatic series of events which perhaps no one expected would unfold.
बचाएगा पाकिस्तान, कौन बचाएगा पाकिस्तान, कौन बचाएगा पाकिस्तान, कौन बचाएगा पाकिस्तान, कौन बचाएगा पाकिस्तान,
इस मीटिंग की तारीख क्या है? 7 मार्च। इस मीटिंग में हमारे सफीर को बताया जाता है कि इमरान खान के खिलाफ एक अदम एतमाद पेश की जा रही है। जनाब स्पीकर, 7 मार्च को ये बताया जाता है अदम एतमाद।
So this is the latest bit of information that has come in. If you're just joining us, the President in Pakistan, Arif Alvi, on the advice of the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, has announced that he has dissolved the National Assembly. The Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has also called for early elections. The country's Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry has said that the early elections will take place in the next 90 days. And even as we speak, Imran Khan reportedly is writing a letter to the President, giving out the details of a caretaker government that will dispense with the duties of a government in the interim till the snap elections are held. Let's also now listen in to the address by the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan a little while back, where he said that he has advised the President to dissolve the National Assembly.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम इय्याका नअबुदु व इय्याका नस्तईन। मैं आज अपनी सारी कौम को मुबारक देना चाहता हूँ कि नेशनल असम्बली के हमारे स्पीकर ने मुस्तरद किया, रिजेक्ट किया एक वो मूव रिजीम चेंज की जो कोशिश की गई थी पाकिस्तान के 22 करोड़ अवाम में, एक बाहर से प्लान किया हुआ नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन जिसके पीछे एक फॉरेन एजेंडा था, और जो आज स्पीकर ने उसको जो रिजेक्ट किया है, और ये नो कॉन्फिडेंस को जो रिजेक्ट किया, मैं सारी कौम को आज मुबारक देता हूँ। मुझे कल से इतने लोग पैगाम दे रहे थे कि जी परेशान थे कि ये क्या हो रहा है, सारी कौम के सामने ये एक गद्दारी हो रही थी, गद्दार बैठे हुए थे और साजिश हो रही थी। और मैं उनको पैगाम देना चाहता हूँ, घबराना नहीं, अल्लाह इस कौम के ऊपर देख रहा है। 27 रमज़ान को ये पाकिस्तान वजूद में आया था। ये इस तरह की साजिश इंशाअल्लाह ये कौम कामयाब नहीं होने देगी। तो जो स्पीकर ने आज जो अपनी अथॉरिटी, अपनी जो पावर, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पावर यूज़ करके जो फैसला किया है, अब इसके बाद मैंने अभी से प्रेसिडेंट साहब को वो भेज दिया है, एडवाइस भेज दी है कि असेंबलियां डिसॉल्व करें। एक डेमोक्रेटिक सोसाइटी में हम डेमोक्रेट्स अवाम के पास जाएं, अवाम से इलेक्शंस हो, अवाम फैसला करे कि वो किसको चाहती है। कोई बाहर से साजिश और इस तरह के लोग, करप्ट लोग, पैसे की बोरियों से लोगों को खरीद के इस मुल्क की तकदीर का फैसला ना करें। वो लोग जो सारे अचकन सलवा के बैठे हुए हैं और वो करोड़ों रुपया इन्होंने खर्च किया लोगों को खरीदने के लिए, ये सारा पैसा इंशाल्लाह ज़ाया होगा। और जिन लोगों ने ये पैसा लिया है, मैं आप सबको कहता हूँ कि कोई अभी भी कोई स्वाब कमा लें, कि कोई पनाह गाह पे लगा दें, कोई यतीम खाना खोल दें, कोई गरीबों के लिए मैं पैसा डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करें। और मैं अपनी कौम को आज कहता हूँ कि आप इलेक्शंस की तैयारी करें और आपने फैसला करना है। किसी बाहर की कुव्वत, किसी करप्ट लोगों ने फैसला नहीं करना कि इस मुल्क का मुस्तकबिल क्या होगा। आपने फैसला करना है इस मुल्क का। और इंशाअल्लाह हम प्रेसिडेंट साहब को जब एडवाइस चला जाएगा, असेंबलीज डिसॉल्व हो जाएंगी और फिर आगे जो भी प्रोसीजर है अगले इलेक्शन का, केयर टेकर गवर्नमेंट का, वो अब शुरू हो जाएगा। मैं अपनी कौम को मुबारक देता हूँ और मैं अल्लाह का शुक्र अदा करता हूँ कि इतनी बड़ी साजिश जो मुल्क से की जा रही थी, एक इलेक्टेड 22 करोड़ की कौम जिसकी इलेक्टेड हुकूमत को गिराने की कोशिश की गई है, इस साजिश से वो आज फेल हो गई है। पाकिस्तान पाइंदाबाद।
The question of constitutionality, the questions of legality, whether what the Deputy Speaker, what he did in his ruling to strike down the vote of no confidence, to dub it as unconstitutional, these are questions that will be debated for a long time to come. And what will be the role of the Supreme Court in Pakistan with respect to what has happened today? This is, of course, something that needs to be looked out for. But the opposition parties, they are already protesting. They are staging protests both inside the House in the National Assembly and also on the streets. A little while back spoke with Mr. Imtiaz Gul, who is a senior journalist who joined us live from Islamabad, and this is what he had to say about the big political developments that have taken place in Pakistan today. Listen.
Well, I think for a lot of people who may not be familiar with the context, we have to, as you were saying, let's decode the matter. So the entire crisis lies in a cable that our ambassador in Washington had sent after his meeting sometime on the 6th or 7th of March with certain government officials in Washington, including probably one of the undersecretaries of state. And in that meeting, according to the cable, the Americans offered to improve relations with Pakistan only if the vote of no confidence against Imran Khan succeeds. So that was a big demand, big ask by the American officials, which the ambassador, Dr. Asad Majid, encapsulated in the cable and sent to Islamabad. And the government invoked the Article 5A of the Constitution by linking the cable to the vote of no confidence, saying that it has been inspired by a foreign country, and this has put basically the loyalties of all the movers of the motion suspect, just because the Article 5A requires loyalty and obedience by every state institution and individual of the state of Pakistan. So the government made the entire case based on a cable that originated from Washington, and hence, after a lot of deliberation, I think this was the only constitutional provision available to the Prime Minister to escape the vote of confidence, in fact, defeat the vote of no confidence constitutionally. Well, I think the government had all the more reason to justify it, because the piece of paper that you are calling the cable that came from Washington was endorsed by the National Security Committee 3 days ago, in which not only the Prime Minister, his cabinet, but also the heads of armed forces participated. And they basically agreed that this cable, this demand from the Americans was not warranted. And that's why the Pakistan government also delivered a démarche to the American deputy head of mission here in Islamabad. So, let's not peddle narratives, let's not attribute negative things to what the government has done. It has done everything constitutionally. Obviously, it will be open to constitutional interpretations, but the government has linked this entire case to the March 7 cable that originated in Washington. And I think the government was very well within its right to defang something that was directly related to the American officials' demand of Pakistan. And they also said that America will forgive Pakistan's past mistakes if Imran Khan goes. So let's give us a break. I think there was something that nobody could become part of, and only seasonal opportunist politicians who otherwise have been at each other's throat joined hands to see the back of Imran Khan. I think he had these constitutional options available and he exercised them.
And also PTI's leader Shandana Gulzar Khan defended the decision taken by the Deputy Speaker while speaking to WION. Listen to what he had to say.
What is next? Today the Prime Minister has announced to dissolve the assemblies. How do you look at this decision as being a part of the Treasury benches? How do you look at this decision by the Prime Minister?
This is the decision that was expected, but because certain elements of the media and certain members of the opposition were expecting us to be like them, which is do extra-constitutional things, do illegal things, or buy off people. We were not going to do that. And this was an option that became constitutionally available to us once the investigation started and once the National Security Council decided that yes, there is a mala fide intent in the communiques that have been sent to Pakistan. This was not a conspiracy against Prime Minister Imran Khan. This was a conspiracy against Pakistan. But as Imran Khan, Prime Minister former, has said dozens of times, we will do everything the legal way. Today is a win for the law. Today is a win for the Constitution. We have done everything keeping in accordance with every article of the Constitution. As Treasury benches, bring it on. We're going to elections, good for us, good for the country.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.